Peace, family. It's your brother Marc Lamont Hill. Happy New Year. Once again, we back up on the channel, Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel, talking about all kinds of stuff going on in the world. Earlier today, we talked about the crisis at Harvard University. We talked about Claudine Gay and the ridiculous railroading that led to her dismissal or her resignation. Tonight, we're moving on to the cultural side. We got a lot to talk about. I'm going to take a second to get going because I want to make sure the room fills up because so many people said they wanted to talk about this. So we right here to talk about it, family. Hit the like button if you're in the building. Let me know that you're here. Let me know where you're coming in from. Write your location, write your city, write your state. Also write what country you're in if you're not in the U.S. because we got people from all over the world coming into the channel. Thank y'all who've been joining. Thank y'all who've been subscribing. Again, hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Let them algorithms know. Let them algorithms know that you care about what we're doing in this building. Let them know that y'all engaged. I see people from all over. Shout out to everybody who's in this room with me. William Campbell, I appreciate the love. Rainbow Stark coming in from the A. Marsha Overton Dotson, San Diego. Murtala Musa from Newark. Oh, man, that's one of the Muslim capitals of the world, man. Certainly in Newark, man. Shout out to Newark. So much love there. Brenda Boyer, I want to thank you for joining the channel, becoming a member, man. We appreciate the love and the support. It means so much. Ashley Stevenson from Birmingham, Huda Fesho from San Francisco. We got somebody from the 6, Sassy KK. Victoria, of course, is our MLH fan. We appreciate you for being here as always. We appreciate the love. So many more people. I'll shout as many of y'all out as I can, including Lana Abul Hawa. So much love. People coming all the way from London to show love, man. Again, we got the MLH fam in the building. People like Margaret Blair, that means so much. Marlise Skinner from Richmond, I love y'all, appreciate y'all. So let's get the party started. Last one though, I got to shout out, or two people. One, the legendary Otis Moss is in the building. I got to share a stage with Reverend Moss a couple weeks ago, man. One of the most brilliant minds in the country, one of the great homileticians in the world. And of course, a Morehouse man. It don't get much better than that, man. And of course, Mr. Love Park, somebody coming from uptown Philly. I love that. So let's get started, y'all. Listen, there are very few things that make me shake my head. That you know, the internet is a wild place, and pop culture is a wild place. And among the people in that wild place, Boosie, also known as Boosie Badass, also known as Lil Boosie, often says the wildest stuff that makes you just scratch your head. And it's so absurd sometimes that it feels like a performance. It feels like an act. But every once in a while, he tips his hand. Every once in a while, he tips his hand. And I get a window into the absurdity that's in that brother's mind. Much of what Boosie says is homophobic. Much of what he does is an outgrowth of that homophobia. He seems to be obsessed, for example, with Lil Nas X. Every time Lil Nas X says it does something, he seems to speak out against it. It's like the homophobia is obsessive. The outrage is obsessive. And in hip-hop culture, we often see this, unfortunately. It's not just hip-hop culture, but in hip-hop culture, we see this so often. On the internet, I hear people talking about it. You can't eat a hot dog in public. A black man can't eat a banana without breaking it up into little pieces because of the homophobic outrage. You know, people walking around saying and doing things that reflect this anxiety and stress and antagonism toward gay people. But it just gets more and more ridiculous. And so it takes more to shock me than it used to. But Boosie managed to shock me today. This morning, Boosie makes a tweet. I'm sorry, y'all. This brother, Lil Boosie, shout out to Lil Boosie. I will, I'd love to talk to you, man. I'd love to have a chance to build with you, my brother, as a black man, so we can get past this homophobia. But Boosie tweeted this morning, man. So apparently Boosie went to see The Color Purple. And after watching The Color Purple, Boosie had to walk out, he said. He said he couldn't take it anymore. And here's what Boosie said. He said, I had to walk out this Color Purple movie, and two other older couples walked out also because I had my little girls with me and it seemed like a rainbow or gay love story. Good acting, but whoever wrote the script is pushing the narrative hard. As a parent, I will not let my little girl watch this film. What? Where do I start with that? Where do I start with that? All right. First of all, Negro, The Color Purple ain't a new movie. The Color Purple came out in 1985. So when you say, I had my little girl with me and it seemed like a gay love story, you don't say. Yes, The Color Purple is a love story. That's not the primary thing about The Color Purple. There's so much complexity in The Color Purple. There's so much beauty in The Color Purple. But my Lord, if you don't think The Color Purple has a lesbian love story in it, then you don't know The Color Purple. Now, Boosie, just for context, because y'all might be like, well, he maybe didn't know. Boosie was born in 1982. Boosie will be 42 years old his next birthday. So Boosie, at 42 years old, you ain't never seen The Color Purple before? You ain't never heard about The Color Purple before? You ain't never heard the jokes about The Color Purple before? You ain't never seen the book? Now, let me be honest. I will fully concede that I do not believe that Lil Boosie has ever read The Color Purple. Boosie does not strike me as a reader. But between the film and Broadway and people talking about it, the idea that you're outraged that The Color Purple had a gay love story is bonkers to me. But here's the other part of it, right? He said, I had my little girls with me. As a parent, I will not let my little girl watch this film. The Color Purple has domestic abuse. The Color Purple has a child who was raped at the age of 14 by her stepfather. There's lots of violence, lots of ugliness inside of this beautiful masterpiece of a project known as The Color Purple, the book, the film, and the play. But it's interesting that if you think your children are so vulnerable and impressionable that they just can't see anything, they can't just watch anything, then why weren't you disgusted by the scene with Celie being abused by her 14-year-old turned out to be stepfather? Why weren't you abused at all of Mister's abuse? There were lots of strong, powerful things that you might say, I'm not sure that this is age appropriate. I get that. I get that. But that don't seem to be at the top of the one. But I'll keep going because that ain't the only one. Boosie is saying, well, he's a responsible parent. And look, everybody got their own way of parenting. I'm not here to be a judge. Everybody got their own kids. Everybody got their own way of dealing with child raising. But if I do remember correctly, my dear brother Boosie, this you? This you, Boosie? I remember, I'm old enough to remember 3 years ago when Boosie said that he paid for his son and nephews to receive oral sex from a sex worker. So just so I'm clear, oral sex from an adult to a 12-year-old, which is sexual assault, which is sexual violence, which is abuse. If that's what he did, I'm only going by what the article said and what Boosie said he did. Maybe Boosie didn't mean it. But if you think that that is age appropriate, how the hell is a love story, a lesbian love story, inappropriate? This is what I don't get about Boosie and them, man. So many of y'all are so scared that your masculinity is under attack. So many of y'all are so scared that something is going to happen to you if you see a gay love story. And some of you feel like your masculinity can only be affirmed if you do things like have a 12-year-old have sex with a grown-ass woman, which again is abuse, which is rape, sexual assault, whatever you want to call it. How do you reconcile that kind of stuff? He said, whoever wrote the script is pushing the narrative hard. Okay, again, Boosie. The script or the screenplay wasn't made to push an agenda. The film was an adaptation of the play and the book. The original film was an adaptation of the book. The book by Alice Walker was not an agenda. It's not a narrative. It's not a narrative, my brother. It's simply an expression of being human. Guess what? There are women in the world who are lesbians, and those women do fall in love. And if you actually watched The Color Purple, you would know that this was a story of self-discovery. This was a story about someone whose faith had been shaken even. Think about Celie's faith, which had been shaken at one point in the book and in the film. And it's reaffirmed. Her belief in her own beauty, which had never been affirmed from her daddy who abused her, to Mr. who abused her, to her whole life. And finally, Suge comes and sees her beauty, just like Celie sees Suge's beauty. That is the beauty of the film. But you can't see that because y'all are so outraged and believing that there is a gay agenda designed to make everybody gay. You can't go around making everybody gay. That's not how it works. People are who they are. They feel how they feel. They love who they love. And watching a movie isn't how people become gay. And I'm gonna give you proof. I'm gonna give you proof, my brother. And again, I ain't got no beef toward Boosie. I want him to grow as a human being. I'm only having this conversation because other people echo this madness. Boosie, earlier this year, Boosie's own daughter, Poison Ivy, came out as lesbian. So Boosie, my dear brother, Boosie, my dear brother, Boosie, if you could parent your way out of lesbianism, if you could parent your children in a way that would stop them from being gay, if I could just talk about gay people bad enough that they wouldn't be gay anymore, wouldn't you not be dealing with this particular situation, my dear brother? Again, if all you got to do is keep your kids away from gay shit or speak badly about gay shit, nobody speaks out against gay shit more than you. And yet you still have a beautiful, wonderful daughter who happened to have come out as a lesbian. And I'm grateful to you, Boosie, that you said that you still love her, that you affirmed your love for your child, despite the fact that she has an identity that you don't agree with. Loving your child regardless is a beautiful thing. And I'm glad you did that, my brother. But here's the point. You can't stop it. People aren't gay because of movies. People aren't gay because of Lil Nas X. People are gay because people are gay. Just like people are straight because people are straight. That's simply how this thing works. So you might not like The Color Purple. There's lots of reasons to not like this new version of The Color Purple, and there's lots of reasons to love it. That's up to the film critics. That's up to the viewers. I haven't watched the new film yet, so I can't speak to the film. I can only speak to the fact that if I walk into it, I'm not going to be surprised that there's a gay scene. Similarly, if I go and see a new adaptation of Boys in the Hood or New Jack City, I'm not going to walk out outraged because there's violence and drugs. Because guess what? That's what it's about. Oh my God, they made a new Godfather. And there's criminal activity. There's organized crime. Yeah, that's the film, fam. But again, I'm not trying to convince Boosie to go back into the theater and watch The Color Purple. What I am trying to do is get us to have a more sophisticated and nuanced conversation, to be smarter about this stuff as we talk about it. Because we have an internet now, we have a YouTube network, and by network I mean like we have all these channels and pages and podcasts all over on all these platforms, and all these people are talking about the gay agenda and the assault on masculinity and all this stuff. Is there a persistent attack on Black men? Of course there is. Is there a persistent attack on Black women? Absolutely. But let's not throw LGBTQ folk under the bus because the world hates Black folk. The world's always hated Black folk. It ain't got nothing to do with gay people. I just don't get it, y'all. Anyway, I ain't gonna keep y'all long. I said this would be a short one, but I wanted to build with y'all. I wanted to build with y'all. Quincy said Boosie, the most influential philosopher of our time. Sadly, he may not be a philosopher, but he does represent the worldview of a lot of people. A lot of people. And a lot of these people are parents, and a lot of these people are educators, and a lot of these people operate in the world. And we don't want to advance or normalize this idea that gay and lesbian people are some mutation of our culture, that there's some negative influence on us that need to be corrected. That can't be how we think about this thing. It just can't be. Anyway, family, I love y'all. I'll talk to y'all later. Shout out to everybody who's been supporting the channel. We're going to continue to build. We're going to continue to work. We're going to continue to put out new information. In fact, when that Epstein list comes out, I promise you I'll be right on it to talk about who's on the list and what it all means. In the meantime, continue to subscribe, continue to join, continue to show love to the channel. We appreciate you. We love you. And thank you. Peace.